The sentence for charge 8 will be consecutive to the sentence for charge 3, and I am satisfied that the total period of 20 years imprisonment is fair and proportionate.
At first glance, it was just an ordinary warehouse in the middle of Glasgow's industrial east side. A lorry backed into the yard, and two men in hazmat suits unloaded a heavy crate of bananas. No loud voices, no rush, it was all just a routine delivery. But in the CCTV footage you've just seen, there was an incredibly small detail that kicked off one of the UK's biggest drug investigations. Beneath the crisp, fresh fruit were blocks of pure cocaine, neatly packaged, cold, and completely odorless. There were no cinematic car chases, no screams of alarm, no gunshots. Instead, it was a case of silence, clean receipts, well-routed trucks, and seemingly unrelated faces. And then it all fell apart from a single, seemingly innocuous sign. So, who was behind those seemingly innocuous crates? Why did the police take notice? And what could have caused such a sophisticated network to be exposed by just a vague suspicion? This is a real case that has brought many people to justice, including names that were on the international wanted list, a perfectly disguised operation, almost without a trace, until someone started looking closer. Are you ready to follow the journey of unraveling the criminal network behind the banana crates? And remember to like and subscribe to the channel to support us with a cup of morning coffee. Thank you very much. Jamie Iceman Stevenson, a name that Scottish criminals both respect and fear, is not a man who likes to be seen in front of the camera. He's the sort of man who lives in the shadows, in late-night pub conversations, in secret police files. Coming from the cold, grey streets of Glasgow, Stevenson learned early on that true power lies not in spontaneous violence, but in the ability to control things from the shadows. Having served time in prison for money laundering and drug trafficking, he has maintained a network that spans Europe, moving his business as if his years behind bars were a temporary vacation. At his side is Gerard Carbin, his son-in-law, the extended arm of the family, an indispensable cog in the chain of command. Carbin doesn't have the illustrious past of his father-in-law, but he has what Stevenson needs: loyalty and absolute silence. Then there was David Billsland, a seemingly innocuous fruit trader who had spent years cultivating a reputation for trustworthiness in the food import business. That reputation became the perfect cover for hiding tons of cocaine among crates of bananas. And Ryan McPhee and Lloyd Cross, two men little known outside their communities, served as the hidden technicians of the operation. They didn't give orders, but they made sure the goods moved on time, on the right route, and they added etizolum, known on the streets as street Valium, to boost profits. They might have been friends, partners, even relatives, through multiple layers of relationships, but when the machine was running smoothly, they shared the profits. And when things went wrong, they found themselves in court together. Each person has a role, a story, a reason for entering this path, but in the end, they are all trapped in the same web woven by Iceman. It began as a routine customs procedure. A container of bananas arrived at Dover, paperwork in order, provenance clear. But for experienced officers, even a slight deviation on the scale could be enough to cause a pause. This shipment was inexplicably heavier than average. At first, one might have blamed it on faulty equipment or the way the boxes were stacked, but the inspector's instincts told them something was amiss. The decision was made to break the seal. To the clatter of pliers and the faint sweet smell of ripe bananas, they began to unload the boxes. Then beneath the golden fruit, rectangular blocks wrapped in black plastic emerged, cold and heavy, pure cocaine, packaged so that it left almost no trace of its scent. In that moment, the case went beyond a random check. It became the start of a national investigation. The National Crime Agency, NCA, was quick to act, not only because of the enormous value of the contraband, but also because the way it had been concealed suggested an organization playing the long game. The discovery of the shipment was like seeing the tip of an iceberg for the first time. There was surely more beneath the surface. From that container, a chain of connections began to emerge, from the phone number on the delivery note to the number plate of the truck that received the goods, to the names of the importing companies. A single point of suspicion opened the door to a network that stretched from South America to the markets of Scotland. The smuggling machine was built to look like a perfect enterprise, with every link disguised as seemingly innocuous activity. On paper, it was a South American fruit importer with a stable trading history, regular customers, and a distribution network across Scotland. Contracts, invoices, shipping documents, all were in order, with no signs of irregularities. Containers of bananas were ordered in bulk, shipped from Ecuador or Colombia, arriving at Dover or Southampton. Each shipment was fully declared, passed through standard security checks, and loaded onto refrigerated trucks for direct delivery to warehouses in Glasgow. Here, amid rows of high shelves filled with the smell of ripe fruit, a team of hand-picked people would sort the bananas. The bananas were unpacked for quality control, but at the same time, blocks of cocaine, wrapped in cardboard, hidden inside or sandwiched between layers of boxes, were quickly and discreetly removed. The evidence now bears almost no trace of the main shipment. Within minutes, it has disappeared into sports bags or sealed containers, ready for the next leg of the journey. From the Glasgow warehouse, the cocaine is distributed in multiple ways. Some are sent to major cities, some are distributed in small batches through pre-established points in the suburbs. What makes this network special is the combination of the real world and the virtual world. Jamie Iceman Stevenson rarely appears on the scene. He operates remotely using fully encrypted devices and the EncroChat application, a communication platform favored by European criminals because it self-destructs messages and does not store data on the server. Commands are transmitted in short messages with difficult-to-decipher symbols to each contact in charge. Each person only knows his part, no one has the whole picture. It's this layering that makes the whole network run like a Swiss watch. Each cog turns at the right time, neither too fast nor too slow, and if one fails, the others keep turning. The veneer of legitimate trade is a solid shield. Shipments come with insurance, quality certificates, and even origin reports from South American farms. Any inspection will reveal only fresh fruit and proper paperwork, unless the inspector knows exactly where to look. To customers, these are just regular banana shipments, but to insiders, they represent multi-million-pound shipments. They change their routes frequently, never let one company take over more than one shipment in a row, and always have a backup company ready to take over if one link fails. To avoid being noticed, they sometimes leave one or two shipments completely clean as a way to throw off the authorities. All of this makes the network both real and virtual, both visible and invisible, and it is this sophistication that has kept it going for years before the first cracks appear. The hunt began quietly and discreetly, just as the ring had operated for years. After the shipment at Dover was discovered to contain a huge amount of cocaine, the UK's National Crime Agency, NCA, did not immediately act, knowing that rushing would only catch a few couriers and lose the chance to take down the entire network. Instead, a massive surveillance operation was launched, closely coordinated by the NCA, the Scottish Police, and European drug enforcement agencies. Every link was put under surveillance, every movement recorded. The turning point came when the EncroChat system, a communication tool trusted by criminals, was hacked and decrypted by international forces. Thousands of seemingly meaningless messages contained a complex network of connections, instructions, delivery schedules, collection points, and even the code names of each shipment. In parallel, secret tracking devices were installed in a number of trucks and suspicious vehicles, allowing the police to trace the journey of each package from the port to the warehouse. They secretly observed the warehouses from a safe distance, recording the faces that frequently entered and exited. Secret cameras were also installed in the streets near the collection points, recording every movement, even the smallest. When the evidence was strong enough to confirm the scale and structure of the network, the siege began to tighten. Stevenson, feeling the pressure, decided to leave Scotland, believing that the Netherlands, with its old relationships, would be a safe haven. But one seemingly peaceful morning, while walking for exercise on a quiet street, he was suddenly approached and restrained by Dutch police. Without a gunshot, without a chance to escape, Iceman was handcuffed amid the astonished eyes of passers-by. At the same time in Scotland, a mass arrest campaign was carried out. Ryan McPhee was caught in a parking lot as he got out of a pickup truck full of cardboard boxes. Lloyd Cross was stopped on the highway, just minutes from the delivery point. Gerard Carbin was arrested at his home in a raid so swift that neighbours heard a frantic knock on the door, and then silence. In subsequent searches, police seized nearly a ton of cocaine, a series of encrypted communications devices, huge sums of cash, and financial records that proved the source of the illicit profits. Many of the trucks were sealed, with secret compartments inside, intricately designed to hide the drugs, hard to detect without taking them apart. Each piece of evidence was like a puzzle, and when put together, the picture emerged: a smuggling network that operated as a legitimate business but was fueled by crime. The arrest ended not with chaos or bloodshed, but with the coldness of a trap that had been completely closed. And when that door closed, no one inside had a way out. At the High Court in Glasgow, the atmosphere was tense as the 5 defendants filed into the courtroom, each with a different look, but the same weary look of someone who knew the game was up. Jamie "Iceman" Stevenson sat quietly in the dock, his demeanour chillingly calm, the manner of someone accustomed to power and control. The prosecutor described him as the architect of the entire operation, the one who devised the strategy, assigned tasks, and kept himself at a distance to make it difficult to trace. Stevenson's son-in-law, Gerard Carbin, was identified as the key logistical link, connecting the delivery points and ensuring the schedule ran smoothly. David Bilsland, a fruit merchant with a spotless business record, was the legal front, allowing tons of cocaine to slip through under the guise of imported bananas. Ryan McPhee, younger and less well-known, acted as a technician on the streets, handling small shipments, maintaining a parallel distribution network of etizolum and cocaine to maximize profits. Lloyd Cross, quiet and reserved, coordinated the trips, inspected the shipments, and handled any surprises that came up during the delivery process. As the evidence was presented, from deciphered coded messages, seized communications equipment, surveillance footage, and seized cash, any resistance evaporated. Each defendant pleaded guilty, perhaps hoping for a reduced sentence, but the severity of the case did not allow for much leniency.
Because the cocaine operation and the etizolum operation were different operations, the sentence for charge 8 will be consecutive to the sentence for charge 3, and I am satisfied that the total period of 20 years imprisonment is fair and proportionate.
Stevenson received 20 years, a sentence reflecting his leadership role. Carbin received 7 years, Bilsland 6, Cross 6, and McPhee 4, lesser sentences but still enough to permanently stamp his criminal record. The prosecutor concluded the trial with a statement that silenced the courtroom. This was one of the biggest drug trafficking operations in Scotland, driven by cold greed and blind faith in technology. The case is a vivid illustration of the transformation of modern crime, where the line between the legal and the underworld has blurred to the point of being difficult to distinguish. A fruit business, a symbol of safe and honest trade, became a cover for nearly a ton of cocaine, something that was previously unimaginable. This was not only a drug trafficking case, but also a typical example of the phenomenon of criminalization of everyday life, when seemingly harmless industries are exploited to serve illegal activities. The case revealed how international criminal networks infiltrated every legal step, from international ports, local warehouses, to familiar delivery trucks on the streets. On the surface, everything was legal, but inside was a machine running on dirty money and cold calculation. Technology played a key role in the whole operation. Encrypted apps like EncroChat, which were marketed as privacy-preserving tools, have been turned into secure communications tools for criminals, allowing them to operate and manage networks without fear of being eavesdropped on. Virtual financial systems and cross-border trade have made it easier for faceless people to control operations remotely. The case is a reminder that the threat to society comes not just from overt violence, but also from the cold minds hidden behind contracts, invoices, and technology. Even a small flaw, like a shipment that is a few pounds off, can break the cover and expose the entire darkness. In the end, when the verdicts are announced and the courtroom doors close, this story resonates more than any number or physical evidence. It reminds us that crime does not only exist in noisy, violent places, but also lurks in the darkest corners of life that seem safest. What is scary is not always the guns or the car chases, but the false calm, where a smile to greet a customer can also hide an entire network of smuggling across continents. The banana and cocaine case not only ended with harsh sentences, but also opened up many unanswered questions. How many similar operations are still operating somewhere, right now, under the guise of legitimate work? And are we alert enough to recognize the signs before it is too late? In a world where technology, commerce, and crime are increasingly intertwined, the truth is often in the smallest details. Details that, if missed, will continue to spread the darkness. If you want to continue to explore true crime stories where the truth is revealed piece by piece like this, remember to come back, because the next secrets may make you shiver even more than today. Have a peaceful day.